Hi, you guys. Brad Singletary here. Just wanted to share something that I've been thinking about lately in my own personal journey, and I see this taking place with the men that I work with. This is a common issue, and I just wanted to share something about overvaluing our contributions. It's easy to overvalue what we give to other people and undervalue what they're giving to us. Here's part of my story and how I'm learning to see myself and other people in a different way. Sometimes we want to be appreciated, even demand appreciation. And that kind of gets us into some emotional trouble at times. What I've found for myself is that as I have given good things to people, the value that I place on what I have shared is a subjective value. That means that what I think I have done is ultra important. And although I don't outwardly demand this, on the inside, I kind of demand respect and admiration for the things that I believe are important. And I feel like I've shared something so selflessly. And the good that I give may be my time, my work, money that I've contributed, the psychological effort that I've laid on some imaginary altar of sacrifice. And I'm inwardly demanding something of return, some kind of return for my investment. The problem is that what I value as significant for others is often not seen as having the same importance from their point of view. Sometimes this has caused me to fall into this cognitive trap. I think about everything that I'm giving to someone, and I fantasize about how much happier I would be if they just gave me the same thing in return. And I decide in my selfish and kind of narcissistic point of view that by not receiving the same things in return, the other person is being unfairly inequitable. So this might show up in my relationship with my kids. It might have to do with my wife, my parents, my friends, even my clients. Sometimes I feel this way even with the Alpha Quorum. The flaw in my thinking is this. I believe that my relationship to them is the same as their relationship to me, and that's a pretty self-absorbed place to be in. It shows itself in situations where I have a great deal of respect or fondness for the other person, and I feel like they may not be giving me enough in return. The problem isn't that I'm giving all this excessive value and getting minimal returns in exchange for what I give. It's just that what I'm giving to them isn't as important as it would be to me if I was receiving the same thing. As I evaluate what it would say about me if I got the same thing in return or the same kind of investment, I feel like I've been shortchanged. What I've discovered about myself is that everything is actually pretty fair as long as I look at it from a fair perspective. And when I look at what others are giving me with gratitude, I feel more appreciated and respected myself. Such an interesting thing. But in general, I think men are often overvaluing their own worth, their own struggles, their story, their own personal and subjective experience, while diminishing the value of what we receive on the other end. So an example of this is in my belonging to a group of people who say it is their mission to reach out to the brokenhearted and lonely and people in greatest need and rally around them and shepherd them back to a place of feeling a sense of belonging and love. There was a time in my life when I felt like I wasn't getting that from this group. And I was caught in the false belief that I was a victim of something that I deserved, but I wasn't getting. The bridging experience for me, how I changed my point of view, was when I decided to become the very thing that I wanted others to be for me. So I started looking for people who were in my own shoes. Maybe they were outcast or forgotten about or felt some sense of being alone. And instead of waiting for people to save me, I began looking for those that I could save. Instead of seeing myself as a victim, I learned to put my own self-interest behind me. And I chose to rise above the expectations that I had for them. In the past, when I gave, I didn't do so selflessly. I was kind of waiting for a payback and a payoff. I wanted to receive what I thought I was entitled to. I was overvaluing my contribution, and I learned a truth about life, a new wisdom as I matured and evolved as a man. In AA, this phenomenon is referred to as king baby syndrome. King baby. So I'm an addict, and I've dealt with multiple compulsions and addictive behaviors that have been destructive to my well-being. But even at times when I wasn't drinking or using or engaging in my addiction, I was unable to deal with criticism. But I myself became critical of others, and in doing so, alienated myself from the love that people were trying to give me. I blamed other people for what was wrong in my life, and I felt unappreciated. I felt like I didn't fit in. I saw the world as this wild jungle filled with selfish people who weren't there for me. Everything was a catastrophe, and I was living in this black or white, right or wrong, absolute reality. And when people didn't measure up to my expectations, I became despondent and felt abandoned by other people who I thought could be or should be giving something more. Maybe they were superiors or people of high status, or people that I thought owed me something. And in this place, I lost touch with my own emotional state and projected a lot of my own misdoings on other people. So I began to realize that it was no longer about me. I had to forget myself and go to work. I went looking for the person who never had their hand shaken, the person that wasn't welcomed and wasn't treated as an integral part of this group. I moved from a place of victimhood to rescuer. But instead of overvaluing my effort, like I had done in the past, I started to value other people for what they are and what they were offering me. Because I was able to recognize the needs of other men in this case, I was easily taken to a place of selflessness and self-denial. Instead, now my focus was on their own needs and their own unfulfilled desires. Recently, I had a conversation with a friend about a situation where I felt slighted about some comments, and I shared the verbatim things that this person had kind of slung at me. I perceived their comments to be totally negative and demanding on me, and I felt like it was just unfair, but my friend told me how much positive he saw in what they were telling me, and I stood corrected at that point. Trying to save yourself by getting what you want from coming from a selfish place will lead to nothing but the sense of isolation and disconnection. Selflessness, though, and valuing the needs and contributions of others above your own will help you become a real man. So to summarize, here's a few things that you can do to get out of the selfish and narcissistic place of what's called the king baby syndrome. First of all, check yourself. See others as desperately attempting to meet their own needs rather than neglecting or refusing to meet yours. Focus on their needs instead of your own. Ask yourself how you might accidentally be coming from a place of self-importance. Understand that your story isn't special. Realize the ways that you are creating your own pain in some cases and that you're not a victim. Reach out in selfless service to people who may be feeling the same abandonment and lack of recognition that is breaking them inside in the same way that you may feel. Don't overvalue what you are giving. Realize that what you believe is selfless is probably motivated by a selfish demand to get something in return. Stop with the covert contracts where you believe by giving X, Y, or Z, you should receive returns of an A, B, or C value. It is my hope to keep doing these things myself as I evolve and change and grow into a grown-ass man, and I hope you will do the same, dude. Peace out.
Gentlemen, you are the Alpha, and this is the Alpha Quorum.